Good evening, my peoples. I'd like to welcome y'all to another episode of The Big Damn with your man, your aunt, your boy, your bruh. I hate that word. Man, Bobby Hill. It's your one and only. I thank y'all for coming here. People that listen to it, I'd like for y'all to, you know, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Help a brother out. As I try to sit up here and try to bring you this, bring you this flavor in your ear. I want y'all to, this you don't cost anything. Just hit like, and hit subscribe. If you want to, hit notification, let you know when let you know when I go live. Y'all can come up here and be live with me. It'd be nice, you know. But I like to thank y'all. Hope your day went away. And excuse me, I said I hope your day went okay. Hope everything's going good with y'all. You know, hope work didn't stress you out too much. Hope your boss didn't stress you out too much. You know, boss stress you out, you're on the edge of quitting. Don't quit. Give it, give it another chance. Think about them kids. Think about them bills you got coming up. Don't quit. I know the boss getting on your nerves. I know you about ready to want to slap the hell out of him. He done said something to you. You got to daggone, hold your breath, hold your, mouth together, clench your lips, clench your butt cheeks. You can't say nothing, but you want to knock him out, but you can't do that. You know, got to suck it up. It's part of being an adult. Got to suck it up. Say yes, sir, yes, ma'am, whatever. Go to the bathroom, wait till you get home. Take that drink, take that smoke. Then you say everything you want to say to him right then. You know, get all out of you. So when you clock in next morning, you won't have your job at risk. You know, yeah. On my day tonight, man. Like I said, spend do a little bit of do a little DoorDash. I like going around San Antonio. Like I said, it's a beautiful city. I wish I can get my peoples here. More of my family here, my friends, the people I grew up with. I wish I can get y'all to come down here and just experience it for a little bit. I know there's a few people. I know one of my boys, what's his name? I give a shout out to Husani Kudwa. Gail. What up with you, man? I know they, a couple years ago, him, his brother's Mike Gale. What up, Mike? Shout out to Mike Gale, his brother Brent. Having a hard time. He got, had a difficult time, for the last few years and stuff. Like give a shout out to my classmate Brent Gale. But they had a father that their father Mike Gale played in the NBA for the San Antonio Spurs, and he was down here. He passed away a few years ago, and so I know for a fact Husani been down here. He know what it's like down here. You know, so it's very beautiful down here. Hope I can get y'all to come, get somebody to come. You know, because I be having a good time. I just want somebody to enjoy it with me. Sorry, you might see me wiping my face a little bit. It's a little hot up here today. I'm sorry, I've been busy working out a little bit. So like I said, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to trying to be there for y'all. That's what I want to do. I decided to do this venture. I want to be here for y'all. Even when it's difficult, even when things are tough, I want to be here. That's why I'm here for the thick and the thin. So you know, ain't no excuses. That's what I signed up to do, and that's what I'm gonna do. You know, like I seen something that was good today. Charles posted. I seen somewhere he posted where they're gonna have a stop the violence march in my hometown of Clinton. After a few weeks ago, there was senseless shooting, senseless violence. With young black men. It's so sad. It just I think this sparked something in the town. They want to have they tired of it. Tired of these young black men, destroying each other. So it's good they doing something about it, and I would give a big ups to my community for stepping up, man. Don't expect nobody else to do it. Y'all gonna do it. Don't expect nobody else to do it. Don't expect nobody else to come in and save you. You got to do it yourself. If somebody else want to come in outside, there's allow them to come in and help, but you got to do it yourself. Don't wait for nobody else to do it. And this is a start. You know, I was talking to talking with my friends today, and he brought it up. He brought up that I should bring somebody. I should talk about this man. He's a good friend of mine. He's a lot younger than me, but he was a very good friend of mine. I got to know him. I got to know him. For a few years. Unfortunately, his life was cut short prematurely by act of violence. By the hands of another black male. And the guy I'm speaking of is his name is Herbert Dixon. People in Clinton would know him more as Two Shot. He was a high school football legend, and he had a legendary basically his senior year. I was gone, so I didn't get a chance to follow him a lot his first years, but his senior year I followed him, and like I said, I won't get all into it. I won't get all into the sports, but I will say this about him. I won't give him any props because I seen this with my own eyes, and I'm talking about college, pro, any type of football. I mean, this man put forth one of the most incredible single-handed performances I've ever seen on a football field. I think the year was 2001, I think, somewhere like that. Yeah. Clinton had played. Take you back for a little bit. Talk about a little bit. They had played Burlington Cummings High School in the state championship, and there was a back and forth game. I mean, there was, I think Clinton was undefeated. I think Burlington was either undefeated, lost one game because they have a great high school program. So I think they were, somewhere like that. But they were known for, Birds of Cummings. They're known for that, passing attack. Back in the day, it was called run and shoot. You know, sort of like similar to what it is now, but sort of a little bit different. But it was a back and forth game. I won't say Hubert Davis. I'm sorry, but Herbert Dixon. He played running back, and he played running back, and he played middle linebacker. And in that game, he scored 4 touchdowns. And all 4 touchdowns was crucial for Clinton to win. Because they won by one touchdown, maybe less than a touchdown. But the reason why I say it's memorable because the last last 2 minutes of the game, there was a little interval within like a minute, and within the last 2 or 3 minutes, there was a minute in between there. I saw Herbert. I see him score a touchdown on offense. I think it maybe have been like for his third offensive touchdown. I think it was like maybe like a 30, 35-yard touchdown. Nice touchdown. Did his thing. Then they kicked the ball off to Burlington. Burlington got the ball, and they were a passing team. They trying to go back and pass, and Clinton put pressure. Clinton defensive line put pressure on the quarterback, caused him, to get antsy. So he scrambled around and he threw the ball. He threw an errant pass into the middle. I guess he saw a man there, but he didn't see Herbert there, or maybe he tried to force it. I don't know, but the receiver and Herbert caught the ball at the same time. Herbert was a big boy, big strong boy. He's a Dixon. People in Clinton know he's a Dixon, a strong boy. So he grabbed that ball. He took the ball away from the receiver and ran the ball in for another like 25-yard touchdown. It was a game-winning touchdown to seal the game. He won that game by himself, and he did that at Keenan Stadium. That was one of the greatest performances I've seen on a football field, and that's what Herbert Dixon did. And he ended up going to North Carolina A&T, and he was excelling. He was excelling as a linebacker. He had a future. He had an NFL future. In order for it to be linebacker, I heard that maybe it probably would have been like a defensive back or something, maybe a safety, something like that, because, he was big, high school standards, but, linebacker, for NFL, you got to be, you got to be like that. But he was, but he was fast, he was strong, he had good football knowledge, he was just a baller, man. And then, while he was at A&T, I think maybe sophomore year or something like that. I think he came down to Clinton, came home, Wanted to spend some time with his peoples and stuff, wanted to show love because that was the type of person he was, man. He wanted to, even though he was having success, he still wanted to, be able to come home and show love to the people who supported him coming up. And, dang, there's nothing wrong with that. All respects to that. But, this time, unfortunately, he went out and, he was a victim of, a straight bullet, and they ended up killing him at a time where he was getting ready to, do something. It's sort of equivalent. If I say equivalent to a celebrity death, I mean not like a getting shot at, but him, the person dying at a point of their life when they were about to really, really take off. It reminded me of like maybe Robin Harris. When Robin Harris died, he had just got his foot. He just did house party. He did baby's kids, and he was just about to take off to that next level. Tragically passed away. That's the feeling I get with that. Except with Two Shot, it was taken away by the hands of somebody else, so it makes it that much. Makes it a little bit worse, and plus it's more personal because I knew him. But yeah, I just want to give a shout out. Just to him and his family. I know they. I think about sometimes what could have been. I know his family does, and I know they still do. It's just a tragic situation, and that's little thing. One of the few that went down in Clinton, man. And, it's sad sometimes, but I'm glad to see that my hometown. I'm glad to see they're stepping up. Doing something. Just like I said, start with a rally. And everything is not going to get solved at a rally or a march. Everything is not going to get solved then. But let that be a jumping off point. Let that spark something. Y'all can do that. You know, you can do that. Don't let these people. Don't let people. Determine. It's not even in the community. Determine y'all fate. Determine y'all. You determine your own fate. Don't let these people determine it for you. Y'all determine how your neighborhood is gonna be. You see something wrong, speak up, do something. Stop waiting for people to do it. Stop waiting for everybody else to do it. Cause they ain't gonna do it. To do it, it's gonna take the damn time. You know, you want it done right, do it yourself. Or not do it. You actually do it yourself, but get your people together and talk. Community, come together. That's what we got to do. Come together. There's power in numbers. One person alone can't do it. You know, one person talking to another person, talking to another person, talking to another person can get things done. And that's what you need to do. Stop looking at everybody else to say, well, that's their problem. Nah, it's everybody's problem. It's our problem. You know, black person is your problem. It don't matter if it's the person or you don't. It's your problem. You know why? Because especially the way it's portrayed out here in the world, it's your problem. But that's the way people gonna portray you. Not everybody, but some people. Some people betray you because of what they seen somewhere else, what they seen on the news. You know, so you got to show them that we responsible, we powerful, we know what we doing, we know what direction we want, man. We can we need to you know take care of ourselves. We can take care of ourselves. Definitely don't expect the government. Not what's going on out there. We got a president that's losing his mind every day. We got a party that's sitting back, not doing anything, letting him lose his mind, sitting here talking junk behind him, behind his back, and off camera, and getting on camera and say, "Yes sir, yes sir, yes sir." You know what I'm saying? We can't do nothing with that. We can't do nothing with that. Y'all got the power to check this man, and you don't do nothing. Why? Because you're scared you might get primary. Because it's not about helping the people. It's about getting reelected. That's all this government is about. It's about making that money, getting in there, getting them donations from them interest groups and them yeah, and them lobbyists and everything. It's all about getting all that money, get reelected, to push that agenda that they paying you for to keep the daggone ball rolling. You know, they don't want nobody in there to disrupt. They don't want nobody in there to change. You know, that's what Trump is. Trump ran off the fact that he's a disruptor and draining the swamp. He didn't drain the swamp. That mother bitch brought 5 more gators in there. He made it worse. Now he's sitting up here, can't even remember stuff, sounding like, we sound like the old man at the end of the porch, man, sitting here talking to himself, talking about the glory days. That's what he sound like. And it's sad. He's sitting up here talking junk about the Pope, man. Why you talking about the Pope, man? Pope ain't did nothing to you. He telling the truth. He telling what's going on. Don't get mad. Then you got, our vice president, J.D. Vance out here looking, told you looking like the mascot for Burger Boy. I forgot, I think it's Burger Boy. If you ever look up Burger Boy mascot and imagine that hat going off, and it'd be J.D. Vance. Guaranteed. But they sitting up here trying to school the Pope on telling him what he should talk about. How you gonna tell this man what he's talking about? That man know more about the world than you. I mean, they don't understand. They just look like idiots on the world stage, and they just intent on keep on doing it, man. I just hope that the damage ain't too bad. We're gonna have some damage done. We're gonna have some things we're gonna have to recover, like as far as our reputation when this stuff is over with. So, they expect people to come back around whenever this is up. And expect people, to come back around to us and stuff. They're gonna be wrong, nah. You're gonna be some dad when they have to come back to the negotiating table after this. We're gonna have to, it's gonna be a whole lot different. We are not gonna be in a position of power to negotiate the next time. Whenever this administration is done, hopefully they don't do too much damage where we can't undo it. Some of it don't make sense. This man started a war for no reason. Now he's trying to back his way out of it because he done messed up, and now he can't do it. He did all this to distract from the fact that he getting tired of people talking about the fact that his best friend was a daggone child or a pedophile. He's with a pedophile. And you got your wife up here having a press conference. That's the first time in the U.S. history that a first lady had to get up here and say that she's not friends with a pedophile. What in the world we living in these days, man? What's going on? These people sitting here letting this stuff go. I mean, Lord Jesus Christ, man. You can always play the game. What if Obama? That's all you can play with that, man. Just imagine everything that's went on. Imagine all this going on right here. For real. And those who have watched, A Time to Kill, Matthew McConaughey, I'm going to use this boy. Imagine this. Imagine all this that happened right here. And, just like Matthew McConaughey said, now imagine this Obama. Imagine. And they sitting up here allowing this stuff, man. They sitting up here allowing it, and it's like I said, it's making us look more and more incompetent. And then it's just, got it's, unfortunate situation where the senator Eric Swalwell got accused of rape back in 2018. Unfortunate situation. Like in this country, I'm firmly innocent to proven guilty. I don't get all bent out of shape over accusations. I need to see that, let everything play out. I don't jump to conclusions and stuff like that. All I would say is this, like, I don't know what it's like to be a woman. I don't know what it's like, anything like that. I definitely don't know what it's like to go through a situation like that where you are violated and stuff like that. But it's very, I just want to think how difficult it would be having something like that happen to you by someone that has power, and you can sit there and watch that person gain power and grow and rise and stuff, and you know this person did this to you, and you can't, you can't turn the person in like earlier. Like, the longer you let stuff go, it makes it harder for the person because people going to this honestly people going to be asking questions like why it takes so long, why now, why are you doing it now, and those are the questions that we asked out here in public. This has nothing to do with trying to smear nobody, trying to like no, because I hate all rapists. You rape somebody, you slum pedophiles, rapists, all that in the same boat in our case. But I want to make sure that the person that's the person who person did it, you know, and there's been, I ain't gonna act like that. Yeah, everything has been one way or other, and not like that, because there have been just like the accusations that turn out to be false. The accusations, a lot of accusations, more accusations turn out to be true. So don't act like it's just like things haven't happened, like people haven't had agendas and stuff. I'm not saying that's what's going on. I'm saying people act like that none of that stuff ever happened. Then when somebody brings it up, they want to attack the person, saying they victim shaming and all that. Ain't nobody victim shaming, but they want to make sure that if y'all want to destroy this man's life, make sure that he did what they said he did, because they'd be unfair for a person's life to get destroyed over an accusation that's not true. Now that's, and I firmly believe that. That's something. If you're going to accuse somebody, make sure, because in this time, in this sensitive day and age, accusation can destroy somebody. So make sure. That's all we saying. Make sure. Make sure you sure. Don't want no. Don't. It's been a few years. Make. Why. You should already. Shouldn't be no question or anything. You should already know. I don't know. It's a touchy situation, but you see what I'm saying. Make sure if you gonna sell, if you wait all this time, you better make sure that it's right. Make sure you got your person. That's all. And if he's done that, I hope he paid for it. If he did it, he needs to pay. He should have been allowed to go this far and serve in the government like this, and that's a shame on him, and shame on you know the shame that he was. If he did that, and he was allowed to serve in the government for the amount of time that he was. But with that being said, look at our damn president. Even look at Matt. I think Matt Gates had to resign because of accusations of being a child molester or whatever. But he ended up getting a podcast. Ended up doing that. He okay. He ain't get shamed. That's what the Republican and Jim Jordan accusations at Ohio State. About misconduct with team. Not saying he did it. I'm not saying he did it. They were saying that he, had knowledge of it and stuff like that, and withheld information, and then stuff like that. So he was connected to that. He was connected to molestation with teens and all that stuff. And he still. I think that he was a committee chair. I think Jim Jordan. He always looked like, he just came from a bar. Eyes be all dark. You never see him with his shirt be all messed up. Like he just came from a bar. And he just got in a bar fight. That's what always look like to me all the time. You know. But these are the people sitting up here running this government. You got the people, the enablers, people sitting up here, allowing them to do that because they just want to stay in favor with Donald Trump, man. And this is so sad. It is just so sad. That they don't realize that there is presidents are temporary. President in our lifetime position. Eventually, you have to answer for someone. You have to answer for what you done. You have to answer for what you done in a court of law. Some of them, a lot of them may be a court of law, but you're gonna answer for what you done. You got to answer for what you let slide. But they need to get rid of, they need to get rid of a man in the Department of Defense, or and I refuse to call it the Department of War. No, Department of Defense. You need to get rid of him, man. He's corny. He's corny. He's Trump number one. He's number two. Or he's 1A. Can't stand that guy, man. He's sitting up there. They having bringing. First of all, brought in all the military leaders and put them all in one spot. You know how dangerous that was. What if somebody got wind of that, wanted to attack that? They could have got rid of the entire head of the military, like all the generals and everything in one swipe. They had everybody in one. Just to bring all these people here to tell them they need to do push-ups. Man, I bet you everyone's gonna want to slap the shit out of them, man. For real. Because I did. I'm not in the military. I want to slap the hell out of them, man. I'm saying stupid stuff like that. But I digress. Yeah, like I said, man, I hope things work out. She experienced what she experienced. I'm very sorry that she experienced that, and I hope, if Senator Representative Eric Swalwell did that, he needs to go. He needs to go. He needs to pay the price. He needs to face the consequences. Because if you rape this woman, you ain't worth a damn. Period. Another thing I always like to talk about. It's just like I said, it's me with my personal thoughts. I ain't, I mean, this is, I really, read articles, look at shows, listen to everybody, gather all this stuff right here. Then I form my own opinion and see, look, I don't sit up here and, try to recite somebody word for word, or if I might do, I'll let you know, like, I might recite a comedian or something like that, but, something I talk about, something that I formulated myself, my own idea that I gather from gathering from information, not that I'm copying what somebody else think. No, no. God gave me my own brain, and I like using it. Yes, yes. That's what I want to talk. I don't want to say something I wanted to say, but sort of slipped my mind for a second. When I need to start doing is taking more notes. So I won't. I'm 50. I'm 51. I feel like the brain ain't as sharp as it used to be. Look, I try to do little brain activities to keep my brain sharp, but at the time, uh, yes, you walk in the room and forget about you have it on your mind what you want to get. As soon as you walk through the doorway, you forget it. Like you walk through a force field that zaps your memory. Like you like somebody just hit you with that they hit you with that men in black light. You just forgot everything. You want something. You're like, what am I doing? Oh, why am I here? Oh yeah, I want some water. Stuff like that. Yes, that happens. That happens more than you know. Oh my God, it happens more than you know. For real. For real. But yeah, one thing I do like is speaking of people get flack for it, and I really hate how they do it. No, I might get flack for it, but I don't care because this is how I feel about it. This is what I've seen throughout, you know, and I know how to, first of all, I know how to separate the Jewish people from the Israeli government. They are not, they are not one and the same. So that's how I feel. When I say something about Israel, I talk about the government of Israel, not the people of Israel. I hate how the United States just, gives so much money to Israel and we get nothing back in return. And we got to watch what we say. We get nothing back in return. Nothing. All them billions of dollars we seen, and we have homeless people everywhere and we send billions of dollars so Israel can bomb and destroy other people. We giving money to that, while at the same time we're destroying our people here by, you know, trying to cut everything, trying to cut all the funds and everything, but you giving them to other people. I don't understand. I'm saying I don't understand with this country while they, I don't understand why they feel like they are handcuffed, like they're handcuffed to Israel. I don't. It's. I always reference movies and stuff, but I feel like ain't talking about the remake. If y'all have ever seen Total Recall, not the one with not the one, excuse me, not the new one, not the newest one with Colin Farrell, but the older one with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And there's a scene where they're looking for this mythical man, and they finally found him. And where he was stuck on the stomach of another man. That's how I feel like Israel is. Israel is that funny looking man that was sticking out of a man's stomach on Total Recall. Go look at it or Google it if you see what I'm talking about. That's how we are with Israel. Oh my God, I feel like we joined at the hip with them. Well, we give them all this money for what? You don't get nothing back. Nothing. Nothing. No products we get. Nothing. We get absolutely nothing. But we got this undying loyalty. This is on both sides of the aisle, Democrat, Republican. They felt like and then when you say something bad about them, they always go, "Oh, you anti-Semitic." Nah, we anti-Israel government. We anti Netanyahu. That's what we anti. We're not anti-Jewish, not anti-Jewish people. Nah, they went the same struggle we all went to. You know, they went through horrific event and everything in their time, in their past. They went through struggle and everything. This is not about them. This is about the daggone prime minister of Israel and his government, his regime, Benjamin Netanyahu, and the government of Israel. I will make that distinction. I mean, I remember one time it was so bad with him. I remember when Barack Obama first became president, and John Boehner, you know, it seemed like he was both. It seemed like he was, real extreme, but he was more center now compared to what Republicans are now. He's okay now, but at that time, he actually brought Benjamin Netanyahu to speak in front of Congress. He didn't talk to the president, but he went and spoke to Congress. Yes, they allowed it. Yes. No, I have a little, you see back here behind my left ear. No, right, my bad. Is that my right ear? Yeah, I'm sorry. My right ear. I'm sorry. I can't see you. Right. I can't talk right here. See that right there? And this right here. I put them up because, next week they got the movie coming out for Michael Jackson. And, it seemed like it's going to be pretty good. I hope it is. I hope it ain't. I hope it ain't like the one when Flex played Michael Jackson when he had baby powder on his face. I don't think it's gonna be like that. It's gonna be a good one. I think it was the director. That's Antoine Fuqua. I think that's the guy who did what he do? He did Training Day. I think so. Yes, Antoine Fuqua. Very good. Very good black producer. You know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Very good producer who just happened to be black. Excuse me. But yeah, it's just But I'm looking. I don't know if I might go to the movie theater and sit. I don't know. I ain't been to the theaters in a while. I haven't been in a very long time. They have very beautiful movie theaters up here. Unlike the one we got in Clinton. Oh my God, I don't want to talk about that. I always I always check everything back to Clinton because oh God, I hate on. You sit in the seats and your ass is numb. And 30 minutes into the damn movie, your ass is numb. It's hurting because them seats, man, them the same. Them seats been in the movie theater's still open and they still running. Them the same seats that's been in there since at least 1980. Mm-hmm. The same seats, 45 years. Them same seats, and they have not upgraded. All they did was add on two little theaters in there. But other than that, they ain't did nothing. That movie theater, oh my god, that's the worst. You know, but come here in San Antonio, oh, it's beautiful. They got them. Remember, everywhere else is better than Clinton, but yeah, here, yeah, they're on top of their game. And I'm saying I might go. Probably might go check that out. Might go check that out. I might check out eventually. I think there's a Spider Man coming out. Probably check that out when it comes. Definitely gonna check out that Doomsday Adventures when they come out. I mess with Marvel. I mess with the superhero movies. Marvel, DC. I do that. I'm pulling. I'm in. How I feel about that is a whole. That could be a whole nother story. But yeah, I like. So I've been keeping. I kept up with it ever since. I didn't watch Iron Man at the movie because honestly, growing up, we had the Incredible Hulk. We had the Incredible Hulk, Superman. No, first Superman, the Incredible Hulk. We had Spider Man, but Spider Man was like a television show, man. Oh my God! Spider Man wasn't a big thing. Then you had the Batman TV show. That was okay. In that little movie, that was okay. But things really changed in 1989 when they released Batman with Michael Keaton. That was the beginning of the what we have now, the superhero movie phase. From started with Batman, 1989. That's the beginning. And they expanded from there. But I mean, I wasn't in Iron Man like that. I thought it was kind of stupid that a man made himself into a superhero. But once our first movie I saw in the MCU was The Incredible Hulk. Because I like the first Hulk. I think that's the best one to me, the one with Eric Banner. But that's everybody got their own favorites. But it started with that. But then I watched Iron Man on television on FX. If you got cable, you got FX. FX are all Marvel all the time. But I saw Iron Man the first time. When I saw that movie, I said, "Oh my god, the movie was fantastic, dude." No, actually not the whole movie, but I saw the scene when he broke out of the cave. When he built himself and broke out of the cave, and then I was hooked ever since then. Then I kept up with the whole MCU. So I know they have a little down period since no, they had a couple. No, I ain't gonna say it's been completely down. People been hard on it, but actually been okay ever since Endgame. They've had a few that were better than others, but I've watched most of this stuff. People have been sort of hard on it. For whatever reason. You get mad because characters change colors and all of this. They want to be a character that was portrayed as white is black, and people getting in their feelings and just it's stupid stuff. But yeah, they have been, I've kept up with them, and they, I enjoyed all the MCU movies and stuff. Most of them, most of them. And as far as DC, I grew up on the Superman and all that, so I grew up on DC too. You know, I actually like where they were going at with Zack Snyder and all that, and I sort of I watched that Justice League that was the one that was 4 hours long. It was long though, but I liked it. But I sort of was, disappointed that they didn't finish that because they had something going when they had Dark Side and everything. You know, they had that going and they decided not to go that route, and it was very disappointing. I watched the Superman with James Gunn, and I liked it. Actually, I liked it. People there was a lot of critics of it. Some people liked it, some people didn't. I actually liked it because you know, I like because I always Superman movies were hard because it's hard to make a movie where someone is all powerful without them just making a movie about total destruction, them destroying everything. And I like with this one because they had him actually losing, actually had him going through adversity and all of that. I like that. I like that. How they had already had the Justice League or what they call the Justice Gang and all that. So I'm glad that they, not having to have all these, origin stories to create a Justice League. They already got it, so they can build from there. And I think that was very smart. And I hoping it's do good. I hope it's do good because I like this stuff. I like when they have good movies. I'm not a person to pit one against the other. I don't care. I want to see them all. Shit, as long as this make good movies. That's all. Entertain me. That's it. That is it. But yeah, like, I hope. Like I said, I try not to talk about. I'm not in here talking about sports a lot. I will dabble in a little bit because I have sports in my heart always. So I don't want to talk about a little bit. But I'm just hoping that San Antonio can do something around here because it's a buzz around here. It's really a buzz around here. Man. They expecting some things around here, and they hope they can deliver. Man, they have the opportunity to. Man, they got Wilt Chamberlain on their team, so they should be able to, make a move for it. I ain't saying they're gonna do it. I'm not personally because they don't have no playoff. Wemby don't have no playoff experience, and I don't know. We don't know how that is going to factor into when they get in them tight moments. What if they get down, 2 games to 1 or 3 games to 2, and you're 3 games to 2, and game 6 is at the other team's place. Can you summon it up to you know be that superstar that people expect you to be? Those will be the tests. Things that you haven't done in the playoffs before. Those are going to be the things that people are going to see. Well, are you there yet, or are you just a year away or something? So it's going to be a test for him, man. I think he can. If he take this step up, man, I think he'll be the face. If he can take this next step in the playoffs, I think he can be the face of the league next year. It'll be all his league. There'll be nothing nobody can do about it. Best believe France probably, and 9 times out of 10, France is probably gonna win a gold medal in the Olympics because Team USA, yeah, y'all ain't, nah, nah. I don't see Steph playing like that no more, and I don't see him playing the Olympics no more. I see, don't get me wrong, they have a lot of young talent up there, but nah. I think Wemby is going to be what's it for a little while. Barring injury. Now, injury is always a wild card because, injury can change everything for everybody. So, him staying healthy, he could be the face of the league, you know. Or he can get injured and be another case of what if, So, hopefully he can stay healthy, man, because I think the game deserves Wemby, you know deserve to have somebody like this to give somebody someone to shoot for, really shoot for. Somebody that's untouchable. They can't be, yeah, yes, yes. But yeah, we'll see. Like I said, so, it's vibing around here. It's jumping around here. Weather's okay. The rain the past couple of days and cooled off, but yeah, it's vibing around here, man. It's a little buzz around here. People, excited about what can happen. Giving away stores giving away free stuff if the Spurs win. So we'll see. Might can catch something. Give me a free coffee or something. You know, wish I could get some free tickets, but ain't there. Not yet, at least. Not yet. No Spurs tickets. But yeah, like I said, when I'm talking, I like to go everywhere, all over the place. I might start at one topic, but no telling what the conversation might go at. So, like I said, I'm glad that y'all give me a chance to talk to y'all, man. That's all I want to do, man. Let's converse with y'all, man. Let y'all see, what I'm doing, what I'm about. Just, I'm here for y'all, man. I'm here to just talk to y'all. We just chat it up. That's it. Like I said, I'll be here tomorrow. Same. I'm gonna try to be here tomorrow. Same thing. Well, same thing. Chatting it up. I'll post and let y'all. Normally I'm gonna try to start doing now is maybe like 15, 20 minutes before. I'm gonna try to post and let you know that I might say like on the day I put the big dam is on deck, but it took me about a few minutes to actually go live. So Sometimes I'm about to go. If I'm about to go live in the next like 5 or 10 minutes, I'll let you know. If we're gonna be a while, I'll be like the big dam is on deck. So I'm saying those, and like I said, for those who are curious about where I got before I go, those who curious about where I got the name of the show, because growing up I had a lot of nicknames growing up, and one of my nicknames was I used to come down on Kennedy Street, go on Kennedy Street, and it was how many people? It was 4 people. It was Joe Kelly. It was Jinx, Johnny Wilson, Johnny Wilson. It was bruh man. I forgot his name. His name Kevin Washington or something like that. But bruh man, and it was Kenny Foster. And when I used to come up, they used to always go the big damn Bobby Bob. Every time I go up, the big damn Bobby Bob. I used to always hear it all the time. But then, man, I think Jinx used to say it the loudest. He used to scream out, "My big damn Bobby Bob." He used to say that all. He used to say it just like that. So after a while, it was just natural, just coming up. But then Joe and Brother broke it down. They said the big damn, and him and Joe and Brother used to all the time, man. I'm just gonna call you the big damn. So every time you come up, the big damn. Actually, before I started doing this, I actually text one man Joe. And I asked him like, "What you think about this name, the Big Damn, with Bobby Hill?" He said it was perfect. And that, but yeah, that's where I got it from because of my homies gave me my nickname. So yes, when I see that, that's a shout out to my boys, bro man, Jazz, Joe Kelly, Jinx, Kenny Foster. Get well, my brother. Get well. With that being said, I'd like to thank y'all for coming out, spending a little bit of time with me. Like I said, we try to do this thing, at least try to do at least 4 times a week, preferably 5, but at least 3, 4 times a week. I'm gonna be here, giving you my honest opinion on stuff. We can talk about whatever, chat with me. We can go live, get on the chat. Hopefully, in time, we can talk on the chat. You ask me a question, we have a Q&A. We can have a Q&A session. So, just let me know. Let me know. Y'all let me know. Give me some feedback, what you want, and we can do this. I love y'all. I hope y'all have a good night. Take care of yourself. Kiss your loved ones. Kiss your kids. Tell everybody you love them because you never know. You never know when that one might be the last. I love y'all. Have a good night.